Excellent. So thanks again. What I'm going to do is scroll through a few of the questions that came up. I did have one that came up in regards to yesterday's measures to limit contact to the head topic. However, I am going to save that until the end. I just want to make sure that we've answered all the questions in regards to the touch law. Yes, the webinars will be made available as a recording. This one will likely be up tomorrow morning Eastern time. I just, because of other commitments tonight between me and our Toronto staff, it might not get up quite tonight, but it definitely will be tomorrow. And everyone who has who registered for this webinar will get an email with a link to it. Right, so far I've just got a list of names. Otherwise, makes it seem as if everything was clear in the webinar. I do want to give it just a couple more minutes just to make sure no one comes up with anything, as it is good for me to have this information available online afterwards. So how does the touch law affect law 22.4G in regards to scoring a try by the touch and goal line? So a player, so the in-goal laws are still separate in regards to the ability to score. So that law does not change. A player who is in touch and goal or over the dead ball line can still score a try by grounding the ball immediately. What that means, though, is, in regards to the touch law, the same does not apply in regards to keeping the ball in the field of play. So anyone who wants to try and keep the ball in the field of play, as you saw with the Canada-Argentina match, as well as the first touchline clip I showed, they must first start in the field of play. But thanks for the question. It's a very good one. You can still score a try in goal. So I got a message about how, because these are important, an email should have gone to all referees and coaches. What Rugby Canada has done so far is distribute a memo as well as put all of these videos up online. And the memo should have gone out from each provincial union to all of their referee societies, to their members, coaches, players. Everyone should already be getting a copy of this. I know who's sent the message and what province you're from, so what I'll do is follow up with your province to make sure that you have the information. Are we still analyzing the examples viewed? I can certainly give you some answers in regards to those videos if you have any questions. I can also go back and take a look at the videos with you here over the next couple of minutes. In regards to why is there no more kick after a penalty try, I think it's just to speed the game up. I think it was pretty given that once a penalty try was awarded and the mark was given for the kick to be taken in front of the sticks, it's almost a given that 2 points would be scored. And so in order to save some time, we would just immediately go back for the kickoff. That's really the only reason. It's just more ball and play opportunities. So a team does not have the opportunity. A good question about whether or not a team can refuse a penalty try and take the penalty instead. The answer is no. Penalty tries are often awarded around issues of foul play in the in-goal, and it's important that referees deal with those scenarios. So I would question whether or not teams would want that, because you get the 7 points. Sorry, that's probably why the question's being asked and it wasn't clear. I need to update that in the PowerPoint, but the 2 points are given automatically on a penalty try, so penalty tries are worth 7 points. Hopefully that clarifies the answer. So when it comes to options of most advantageous penalty, do you have any suggestions on how to do so without impeding them from going quick? That, I think, comes down to player responsibility. So the captain, I think, is responsible for knowing, and the coach for informing the captain of what the updates to the laws actually are. And it's important that if players, I don't think there's anything wrong with a player taking a quick tap off the, if you blow the whistle on the second advantage and the player quick taps behind that mark, I think if they're aware of the law, then that's making their answer for them. I think it's the same when a player goes for the quick throw in on um, on a ball that was knocked into touch, for instance. So we have the option to say, Team A, would you like a scrum or a line out? However, if the Team A throws the ball in quickly from the marker behind it, then they've made that decision and we're going to play on. The same would apply here. As soon as the quick tap is taken, they've taken the decision of where they want to take that advantage penalty, that second penalty, and move from there. So a player preventing the ball from going into touch must still throw it backwards. Result for, is it a forward throw and a scrum? The answer is yes. If there's an opportunity to play advantage, interesting things might be able to happen. But yes, if a person or a player jumps from the field of play to try and knock the ball back but knocks it forward, then absolutely we can have a situation where it is playing advantage for a knock forward or throw forward and seeing what happens from there. And if nothing happens, then we'll come back for a scrum. Great. I think that's it for questions. I will address the one question in regards to yesterday with the ball carrier and the ruling or the measures around the head contact. So the point is around whether or not the ball carrier bends 90 degrees and runs with his back horizontal. So sometimes referred to as torpedoing. Can we sanction him and ask him to stay more upright as he is exposing his head and neck? I would say no. And what I'm going to try and get to is around the head contact issues, we need to ensure that we're using a little bit of common sense when it comes to what's happening on the field in front of us. When it comes to a player bending over in that regard, I think the more appropriate response is when a player goes to wrap, to try and just make sure that that first initial point of contact is at around the hips, and if it's over top of the body, they're just not sliding their arms around the neck to do a twisting or a pulling motion, okay? And the same question would apply, the same question for the first arriving player to tackle, leaning over to tackle, keeping their head down and showing their back and neck. I think the answer to that is there still needs to be that contest for possession. And the reality is that in order to pick up the ball with the speed at which the game is playing now, players are going to have to be able to put their shoulders below their hips in order to be able to try and collect the ball. Yes, it leaves them exposed. However, the emphasis on the clean out, and you would see this if you were to go to the Play Smart site and take a look at the national key themes where they look at the clean out. What they want to do is to actually try and get low, and they still want to try and win that shoulder to chest battle. So despite the fact that someone has their shoulders below the hips contesting for the ball, we still want them to survive a clean out, and the clean out we're expecting to still try and get underneath the hip or the chest to try and drive up. We still want to see that plane carrying off. Okay. I hope that answers the question, but I don't think the answer is to sanction players for trying to play positive rugby. Trying to get low when you're carrying the ball and trying to poach the ball in a tackle situation when you have rights to it are both positive actions of the game that need to be maintained. Great, I'm going to leave it at that for now. If anyone has any further questions, as mentioned in the webinar video, if you guys can please contact myself at nabdelnoor@rugbycanada.ca as opposed to answering to the webinar invite. That way my boss doesn't get all of our emails. And I want to thank you once again, and I will send a message out to all participants once the videos have been uploaded. Thank you.